A mother left her 1-year-old child alone with the dog for just a few seconds. She was shocked when she returned to the room. Although the dog had only been with them for a few days, she was confident he had a gentle nature and posed no threat to her family. But then something happened. She was about to rush to help her child, but then she noticed something that made her pause. And when she realized what was really happening, she couldn't believe it. It all started when Catherine and her husband had a daughter named Charlotte. A few months later, they decided to grow their family. But instead of having another baby, they thought it would be good for Charlotte to have a furry friend. Someone who could offer her safety and later teach her responsibility. But they didn't want just any dog. The couple considered buying a puppy from a breeder to ensure the dog had the right qualities for their family. At the same time, she also wanted to give a good home to a dog that didn't yet have one. By chance, they soon learned about a rescue dog that originally came from a breeder. The only issue was that his breed had a reputation for being aggressive and unpredictable. He was an adult male Doberman. Dogs of this breed were originally developed as personal guard animals, so they are genetically inclined to protect and show aggression. But there was something special about this dog that Catherine couldn't ignore. The breeder had sold the dog, but later found out he had been mistreated and rescued him. He was in terrible condition, starving and with broken ribs, suggesting he had been beaten. Things were so bad that the vets considered putting him down. That's when Catherine stepped in. Her husband had some doubts. Was this the right dog for their family? Had they thought it through? He didn't want the excitement of adding a new member to cloud their judgment. Even after learning about the dog's troubled past, Catherine couldn't help but fall in love with him the moment she met him. There was something about his personality that made her feel at ease. So despite all the warnings, she adopted him and named him Con. She couldn't wait to bring him home and introduce him to her 7-month-old daughter. But that didn't mean she would act recklessly with a new and unfamiliar dog in the house. She decided to take every precaution. During the first few days in their home, neither Catherine nor her husband took their eyes off Con. Little Charlotte was fascinated by her new furry brother, and he seemed to behave well with her. He was always calm and gentle. Catherine told herself she had made the right choice, though she remained cautious whenever the dog and child were together. But then, one day everything changed. Catherine left Con playing in the yard with her daughter while she did the dishes in the kitchen. As if sensing something was wrong, she looked out the kitchen door and saw a scene she would never forget. But before she could do anything about it, it was already too late. Con kept nudging Charlotte and pushing her with his snout. He was trying to move her forward, almost as if urging her to react. Charlotte was unaware and continued playing. Then he grabbed her diaper with his teeth. Catherine screamed Con's name as she watched in horror. Catherine's thoughts were racing. She had heard horror stories about dogs. Could this really be happening with Con? She couldn't shake the feeling that it was all her fault. She should have been more careful. She never should have let Charlotte go outside alone. Then Con did something that nearly made her heart leap out of her chest. He grabbed Charlotte by her diaper and threw her several meters across the yard like a rag doll. Catherine couldn't believe her eyes. She froze, unsure of what to do. Only one thought was in her mind. She had to get to her child. She ran to her daughter and quickly picked her up. She checked her over, making sure she was unharmed. To her surprise, the child had only a few scratches. When she turned to Con, she almost expected him to attack her next. But instead, the dog did something unexpected. Con struggled to stand. He was breathing heavily and drooling. He lifted his front paw as if in pain. Then his breathing worsened and he collapsed. His condition was deteriorating rapidly right in front of her eyes. Something else was clearly going on. Catherine didn't understand what had just happened. Panicking, she looked around. She felt helpless and overwhelmed. Then she saw it, a taipan snake lying in the grass, one of the most venomous snakes in Australia. Just one bite from it can be enough to kill a grown adult. Only then did Catherine realize what had truly happened. Khan had thrown Charlotte out of harm's way and sacrificed himself. But had he paid for his heroic act with his life? Catherine realized Khan must have been bitten while trying to protect little Charlotte. Knowing the dangers of Australian wildlife, Catherine understood that it was a race against time. She had to get him to the vet for anti-venom as quickly as possible. Otherwise, his chances of survival were slim. There was just one problem. Catherine was home alone with Charlotte. But she couldn't let the dog die after saving her daughter's life. With all her strength, she lifted the injured dog and somehow managed to get him into the trunk of her car. She rushed to the vet with Khan in the back, barely paying attention to the traffic laws. "I didn't even stop at the red light," she later admitted in an interview. Catherine made it to the vet, who immediately took Khan in and gave him an injection of anti-venom. Although she desperately wanted to know how her dog was doing, the vet told her they would have to wait until the next morning to see if the antidote worked. Reluctantly, she went home, uncertain of what would happen. A taipan bite is usually fatal, but perhaps Khan hadn't received a full dose of venom and might survive the night thanks to his size and weight. One expert suggested that Khan may have lived because the snake didn't inject all its venom into his paw. Still, he didn't want to give Catherine too much hope. Regardless, Catherine spent the entire night praying that Khan would survive. She didn't close her eyes and remained anxious until morning. The next day, the vet called her. The young woman burst into tears. Khan was in stable condition, and the very next day, he came home. The small family could hardly believe their luck. Dear viewers, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Goodbye.